One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey y'all, welcome to the second episode of Undercover. Our channel is dedicated to helping you learn how to cover any song. If you haven't already seen episode 1, where I walk you through my process for how to figure out the bass line, then I'll link to that right here. In this episode, we're gonna go over some more tips and tricks for figuring out the bass line, and also how to start getting creative with your bass line cover. So let's get started. So the first hiccup that a lot of people run into is not being able to hear the bass line in a recording. So some reasons for this are maybe the bass line in a recording is unclear or quiet or just really low pitched. It may also be because most people are more attuned to hearing the melody first and can get that confused with the bass line really easily. So whatever the issue may be, here are some helpful tips on how to hear the bass line more clearly. My first tip is use headphones or good speakers and avoid laptop and phone speakers. The difference in being able to hear the bass line is immediately obvious. Often studio-produced songs are divided into different channels, being left or right, and the bass is often louder in one channel. So with headphones or speakers, you can listen to see if either the left or the right of the stereo mix is more bass prominent just by listening to one side and then listening to the other side to see which one the bass is louder in, or turning up one speaker, down on the other, and then switching. If you have your song downloaded, you can use the program Audacity to take your MP3 or WAV file and boost the bass frequencies while lowering all the surrounding frequencies. So especially when the bass in the original recording sounds muddy or unclear, this is a way you can isolate the bass line and make it jump out more. So below, I'll drop some links to where you can download Audacity for free, a tutorial walking you through how to bass boost your songs, and a playlist of a bunch of already isolated bass tracks of some popular rock songs. Another problem that people run into is struggling to figure out each individual note in their bass line. It can often feel like kind of a guessing game or trial and error, but here are some more techniques for transcribing. Slowing down the song while keeping the pitches the same will help you more easily hear each note. This is a great technique, especially if the bass line is way too fast, for you to be able to pick out each individual note. So if you're listening to your song on YouTube, you can use the slow down feature, which can be found when you click on the settings icon in the bottom of your video, then playback speed. Then you can pick one of the options, 0.75, 0.5, 0.25. If your song is not on YouTube and you're using a downloaded recording, there's also other softwares and apps that can do a good job of slowing the audio down, and so I'll drop some links to those below. So a software that can be really useful in this process of transcribing is called Transcribe. You can raise the bass frequencies or even alter them to be an octave up, which is usually easier to hear. You can isolate a certain part of the song in your playback to listen more closely. And you can see the program has a note and chord guessing feature, which gives an often fairly accurate transcription of what notes or chords are being played. So I'll drop a link below if you want to try this software out for a free trial period. So once you've figured out your bass line and are ready to cover, you can start to make your cover your own by getting creative with it. So here are some different ideas for how to break out of the bass line. My first tip is rhythmic variation, which is when you take the rhythms of your bass line and mess with them while keeping the same melodic material or the notes. Like for example, in the bass line in Chinese New Year, which sounds like this. I could then try adding in some eighth notes to make it sound a little different. Or I could try taking away some of the rhythm and give more space. Another idea is melodic variation, which is when you take the notes in your line and mess with them while keeping the same rhythms. So for example, in the bass line of Chinese New Year, which again sounds like this, I'm going to use that same rhythm, but try and put in some different chord tones to make it sound different. So in this example, the first chord is D major, which spelled out is D, F sharp, A, and C sharp. Then the second chord is G major, which spelled out is G, B, D, and F sharp. So I'll try using some of those other notes in with my bass line using the same rhythm. Here I go. example, there I used the third of the chord mixed in with some of those other notes from the previous bass line, just to make it sound a little different. I could probably go on forever about all of this, but essentially my final tip for getting creative with your bass line is to steal. There's kind of a famous quote that goes, "Good artists copy, but great artists steal." And in this case, steal does not mean to plagiarize, but more so inspiration. So do your research and listen to other musicians' covers, listen to what they do, and if you like some of their ideas, you can use it as inspiration to start creating something of your own. So thank you for watching the second episode of Undercover. I hope it helps you out, and if there are any questions or comments, I'd love to hear them, so feel free to drop them below. Also, stay tuned for more episodes from our channel about how to cover other parts of a song, such as rhythm, melody, and harmony parts. So thanks, and good luck!